we went in to retrieve a doll, and the vagina was all melted. And we're trying to figure out what the fuck went on. Like, what did he do? And then we looked at the blow dryer, and it was the material around the blow dryer. So he stretched the pussy out to like this big.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, who's going to enjoy that after that?
Welcome to the Mile High Club podcast. I'm your host, Tori, and I'm here with my little sister and co-host, Maddie.
Hey, how's it going? Our first podcast episode. I'm so excited.
I know, they're popping our cherry.
Yeah.
It's our very first time.
Very first time. Well, let's tell them what it's all about.
All right. Well, this is a sex-positive, kinky podcast that explores everything under the sheets. So, you know when you've been looking at Pornhub and that ad comes up and it's like, if you play this video game, you'll come in 3 seconds. And you always kind of wanted to click on it, but like never had the courage to because you're going to get a shit ton of viruses. Well, we're going to be the ones clicking the ad for you. We're exploring those topics. We're going there, under the sheets, dirty, kinky, all of it.
Basically, Tori's just a huge whore, and Rooster Magazine decided to give you a microphone.
Oh, thank God someone did.
Together. Really, we just want attention. We're both middle children. We have an older sister, younger brother, so stuck right in the middle. We're like, please
give us a microphone.
Listen to us, please.
Well, maybe should we introduce each other?
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, we should introduce each other. That feels less awkward.
Okay.
Than talking about ourselves. I'll do you first because
Okay.
you're the host. So Tori here is easily the most brilliant person I've ever met. She has a master's in electrical engineering, worked for an aerospace company. This bitch was sponsored by NASA or featured by NASA. And then, the pandemic happened. We all know how that goes. So then you pivoted. Now you do custom coding and you create custom assets for video games. Super popular in the interwebs with your digital designs that you make for these video games.
Which
Super
show up on
cool.
Pornhub sometimes.
Yeah,
More on that
sometimes.
later.
Yeah, more on that later. And then you started writing an article, a sex column for Rooster Magazine, and that's why
Because I'm a hoe.
Yeah. A pro hoe.
Actually, I'm a professional hoe now.
Yes,
I think this is what makes me professional now.
It's the blazer.
Right? Yeah, it's a career. Well, Maddie is my younger sister. She's incredibly talented. She is a fashion designer. She's been featured in Denver Fashion Show many times. She also is copywriter for some huge brands, but also formerly a stripper. She even made a stripper scrapbook over times of her.
I'm also a dweeb.
Yeah, she's super dweeb. And she also travels around the U.S. shooting boudoir photography, which, can you believe it? I said the word boudoir right.
Yeah, you actually pronounced it right.
I did.
Tori cannot pronounce words right to save her life. I feel like, I hear that we sound really similar. I'm afraid people might not be able to tell our voices apart because people think we talk the same. We talk really fast.
Yes.
But you know it's Tori talking if she mispronounces a word.
Always.
She used to say feta cheese instead of feta cheese. Like, just the most insane pronunciations of words we've ever heard.
Yeah, they don't make sense.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about?
We're working on it.
But Maddie, bless her soul, was in speech therapy for 5 years for a lisp.
Yeah, I have
and
a
she
lisp.
still has it.
Yeah.
It didn't help.
No, listen. And there are days when it's worse. Like, my tongue feels heavy. So if you hear the, like, Sally sells seashells by the seashore, like that mess of S's,
yeah,
that's me talking.
And mispronunciation, again, that is me, including our guest today.
Yeah.
Dare I try it?
Let's see. That's
Brian Herron.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
I called him Brian Herron. He was like, my name's Herron. I'm like, oh, Brian Herron.
Yeah. Just trying to add a little flavor, a little accent to it. Well, so tell us, who are we interviewing? What is this about?
So Brian Herron, correct pronunciation. He is the founder, owner of Sex Doll Ltd. in Denver, Colorado. Denver Doll.
See, she doesn't know.
It's not even just mispronunciation. It's also just the whole word. It's Denver Doll Ltd. My goodness. The owner, founder, main man behind the show, and they actually rent out sex dolls.
That's crazy. So like blow-up dolls?
So not blow-up dolls. These are very different. They're super realistic. They're made with a metal skeleton, almost like ours, which makes them posable and movable. And they're built with this either silicone or it's called TPE. It's a type of plastic, and it makes them feel super realistic. I mean, they're gorgeous and they're fuckable.
That is so wild. Are they like life-size humans?
So they're about 5'2". They weigh between like 90 and 110 pounds.
So they're petite.
They're
gals.
petite, but wait till, okay, these are not some girl performing in bed, okay? They lay there, they don't do any work, okay? You have to do the work, which is fine, but like, keep in mind, I didn't understand why they were so tiny, and then I felt one and I was like, oh my God, you are going to get a workout from using one of these things.
For sure. True dead fish in the sheets.
Dead fish in the bed.
God, I love it. Well, let's get into it.
Let's go. Let's talk to Brian. Today we are here with Brian Herron of Denver Doll Ltd. I'm also here with my co-host and sister, Maddie. How are you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Great.
Doing
Us
good.
too. We got the full experience when we first came in here to the hotel room.
It was so professional. I was like, okay, get VIP treatment.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it was very discreet how it's taped behind the door, and you can see we have Tori, my requested doll, here in the background behind us. So she's beautiful, just as beautiful as I was hoping. So,
Thank you. It's a very popular doll right there.
Yeah. So why don't we just get started? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Denver Doll Ltd. And how it got started?
Well, a little bit about Denver Doll, the way it got started. I was working in the oil field. And I don't know if you know much about the oil field, but we work a lot. So there's a lot of guys that would travel from different states to come here to Denver, because that's where I was working at. And they will work 12 days on, 6 days off. So they're away from their families for a long time, right? So what I realized is one guy that worked on my crew, he'd get real moody, real bitchy like day 6. And I'm like, bro, you need a sex doll. And he's like, I don't want no damn blow-up doll. And I'm like, well, what if there's realistic ones? So we start looking them up, and I'm like, wow, this doll's actually kind of hot. And he's like, yeah, I like that one there too. That was pretty good. So then we just joked around with it for like a few days, and then I bought one. And he knew I bought it. So then when it arrived at the house like 7 days later or whatever, I had plans to meet up with my lady. So I told Lou I'd be on my way. So I didn't have a lot of time. I had maybe like 15, 20 minutes to hurry up and get ready and head out the door. So I bring the doll in and I open the box and shit, and I'm looking at it. And I'm like, okay, it looks pretty good. You know, I go shower and shit. And then I'm getting ready to leave. And I'm like,
You had to hit it, didn't you?
let me get there. But before that, like, I took it out the box. I set it on my bed. And then I put the head on the doll, put the wig on. And I'm like, damn, it looks pretty good. And I'm like, all right, I got to go. So then I go to leave the house, and I'm looking for my keys. I can't find my keys. So I go back into the house, and I'm looking around the house. I can't find them. I go in my room, and on my dresser is the keys. And I look at the doll. I'm like, I gotta fuck this doll. So I did that, and I thought I'd feel weird afterwards. But when I was done, I'm like, oh, I felt pretty good. Okay. So then went about my day and shit. And then me and my lady, we have great sexual experiences, right? So we didn't have sex that night. I woke up before my alarm, and I'm like, let me go bang this doll one more time before work. And that's what I did.
Yeah, you got that nice morning pick-me-up.
Absolutely. So then I get to work, and I tell my buddy about it, and he's like, all right, man, I got to try it. So later that night, he comes to my house while I'm hanging out with Lou, and he does his thing. He calls me. He's like, hey, bro, that was amazing. I think you're onto something. And that was the birth of Denver Doll.
And how many years ago was that?
That was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you officially started in 2019, right?
Hold on. No, it was 2019.
2019, okay.
Yes.
And it went pretty quick from there, didn't it?
Not really. It was a slow build.
Okay.
You know, so I told everybody around me what I was doing, and they called me crazy. They're like, that shit would never work. So I started the business, got the website, everything I needed to operate. And it took maybe about 6 months before a reservation came in. So by that time, I was ready to give up. I'm like, everybody's right. This is a dumb idea. This would never work. And then that first reservation came in, and I'm like, oh, shit, this will work. And then I never gave up, and now I'm here today.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Putting on that hustle, building up a business people didn't believe in. That can be tough at sometimes.
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing I realized is never tell anyone what you're doing before you're doing it, before you start doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so because people are dream killers. They like to, you know, kill your dream. So I figure I'm going to just start doing it. Whatever I choose to do next time, I'm going to start doing it and let people see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
And I heard one of your interviews, you were talking about how you'd say, we've got 8 dolls and you had 2 in there getting started, and you'd be like, well, all of them are taken, but these ones are free. And I was like, this guy, that's how you start a business.
Right, because I knew if
fake it till you make it.
Exactly. So I knew if I had 2 dolls on the website, right, people would see that and be like, he ain't really about that shit. He only got 2 dolls, man. So I put like 8 up there. So now it gives an impression that it's something big, right?
Yep.
So then when they request a doll we didn't have, like, we got these 2 available. But then I started hustling, and as reservations came in, made more money, I ended up buying those other dolls. So then every doll on the website we had.
And these dolls, they're not inexpensive. They're
Not at all.
Very expensive.
They're very pricey.
So have you changed what kind of dolls? Like, have you gone from more kind of, are there
Upgrades?
Upgrades, yeah. Because I read a lot about all these different upgrades you can have, and I'm sure when you started, you're like, you grab the first doll you could find, maybe, or.
No, I just grabbed the first doll that I found attractive.
Yeah.
So then for like the upgrades, I know they have like the warming, like the auto warming, and some dolls will talk to you and things like that. So we haven't gravitated towards that yet, but it's something in the near future though.
Yeah.
So all of our dolls at the moment are like standard dolls that are still high quality.
And still incredibly complex.
Yes.
And how you can move them and the skeleton. And do you know a little bit about, or can you tell us a little bit about the materials? Because I know there's different types of materials that are more lifelike, or some are more realistic looking, or you're the expert. You tell us.
I don't think I'm the expert, but I know a little bit. But yeah, so some dolls are made out of silicone, which is it's a harder material, but it's durable, right? And then a lot of our dolls are silicone based. And then there's also TPE, which is thermoplastic elastomer.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a lot more softer, right? So what I've heard is that if you lose a limb and they replace your limb, they will replace it with that material, right? So it's pretty fleshy. So we have some dolls that are made out of that material as well, which give them a more lifelike feel to them. And it's really soft. It's not as durable as the silicone, though.
Okay. But those things get pretty heavy.
They can, especially like the BBW dolls, the more material. People don't think that. They see all like the big boobs, the big butt, and they don't think 100 pounds is a lot, but 100 pounds dead weight is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That was actually, I was curious because when I was looking around at different websites, that a lot of the big body dolls weren't really, or the BBW, weren't exactly what I would consider a big body, but then you have to take into account too that I was thinking about, the bigger they're getting, it's heavy.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of weight, so.
Right. So like whatever the size, a person will want to say this weight is a BBW, right? Let's just throw out if the doll is 5'2" and 170 pounds or whatever, right? That's going to be too hard to really enjoy because you got to do a lot of lifting, right? Probably pull a black back muscle or some shit, whatever. So by the time you get it into position, you too tired to fuck it.
Yeah.
So thinking about it as an inanimate object, right? So about 100 pounds, will be BBW compared to the average weight, which is like 60 pounds.
Absolutely.
I know you have like the VR headsets and stuff, because we're talking about dead weight and how it's a lot to kind of move with the doll. What kind of options do you have to make it more interactive?
So, I wanted y'all to check out the VR before we started recording, but afterwards you can check it out. The VR just really intensifies the experience, right? So you're able to watch like your favorite porn or your favorite porn star, whatever, your favorite fantasy fetish, whatever you're into, while interacting with the doll, which makes it even more realistic, right? So you can hear the moans, you can get a different visual and feel like you're actually there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love how you build this whole experience. I mean, when we came, you brought us through where it's very discreet. You get a text message when you arrive with a room number. The key card is left for you, so you can enter the room without having to interact with people. Then you come in, and the dolls are set up. I know you said you can pose them in different ways, how people want them, and lay out some lube and condoms and water. What went behind kind of building this experience? Was that something that came from the beginning, or how did you kind of curate it to be something more than just coming and renting a doll?
So creating the is it the ambience, right? You know, I think Lou had a big part in that. Like, she has this big visual. My thing was just sex dolls, put them in a hotel, you know. But she's like, you know, let's put the key behind the do not disturb sign. Let's, you know, lay the condoms out this way, the lube, and have a red light and pose them this way. So she made it real sexy. I had the idea, but she kind of brought the sexy in.
God bless women. Lose your wife, who's helping. And I love the touches, because that's the kind of thing women think about. We're like, we need the mood lighting.
Yes.
I've been trying to get my whole house in mood lighting. I'm like, listen, we don't need bright lights. We're trying to make it sexy here. I love that. That's
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, especially if they're coming for their first time, it is going to be an experience they're looking for. Obviously, you have a lot of regular customers, but for someone new wanting to try it out, to come in and kind of feel pampered with it too, and have them. I loved how they were posed when you came in, and
Thank you.
They were awesome, and dressed too. I think that's one thing they've mentioned before. Yeah, you
Lou
get.
was saying she makes some custom costumes too. You can kind of request something special.
She's pretty crafty.
Yeah.
You know, she can pretty much whip up anything last minute if it's, you know, if it comes in last minute.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that story where you guys go and last minute anything for the customer. It was awesome.
You know, and that's the whole thing, right? We want to make sure we fulfill whatever the customer need is, right? And we have no problem with going above and beyond. You know, so it really puts us it really puts us to the test, right? To see what we're capable of doing, right? So, and also knowing that we're fulfilling this desire for the client and making them happy, that's really important to us, you know, so.
Yeah, and let's talk about customers, because I feel like there can be a stigma with this kind of stuff where people think it's just creepy perverts, and, you know, but I feel like you probably get a lot of really regular people, you know, people who are just trying to have a unique experience.
Absolutely. So a lot of people think that they're creepy, right? And I think it's because they don't understand, you know, people or understand men, right? And a lot of the guys, I do get to meet some of them because they want to have a conversation with me, and I'm open to that. And then I'm having a conversation. I'm like, this guy's actually cool. He's not even creepy at all. He's a good-looking guy, you know. One guy drove like a really nice car. He had a Porsche. Another guy had like a Tesla, you know. And the thing about it is, they're like, hey, time is everything. I don't have time to go on dates and time to get to know you. I just need to release and go about my day, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that that's what they're able to do at Denver Doll, that's why it's valuable to them, because they value their time.
And I think there's a lot of potential, too, that people might not consider. You know, people who have developmental or physical disabilities who might not have access to safe sex and can explore with a doll. You know, people who have been through sexual trauma and need to explore sexuality in a safe, controlled environment. And then even beyond, you know, people who have lost spouses and who are married for, you know, 40 years and kind of need to have a sexual experience, but they're not ready to have that emotional connection with a human. I think that, you know, there's a lot of different layers of clientele who might be able to experience this in ways that that we shouldn't, like, stick our noses up about or be like, oh, you're weird for wanting to try a sex doll, you know?
Absolutely. You should be more open-minded, right? And I'm glad you said that, because a friend of mine, he actually lost his wife.
Yeah.
And he came to me and he's like, hey, man, I'm looking at some sex dolls. You know, I want your advice, because he knows what I do, obviously. So I'm giving him my advice. I'm looking at the dolls that he's interested in. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's pretty hot.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, so why do you want a doll? And he's like, man, I've been out there trying to do the dating thing, but I don't like it. You know, it's not for me. I don't really care to get to know some of these people out here. And I just rather have a doll. It's more simple, you know? And he ended up purchasing a doll, and he likes his doll, and he's happy.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And it can give you an opportunity, too, to explore kinks that maybe your partner isn't into.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking, too. And that was one thing Maddie and I had discussed as well, is the potential, you know, to even help reduce violence against women. If that is a kink and you're able to use a doll for that, it's just another positive benefit of it. I mean, there's so many. I guess my biggest question is, where's my male doll? Because I don't have time to date either. This sounds great. This setup.
The guy dolls are coming soon.
Coming soon?
Yeah, they're coming soon. We're working on that.
And so I know there can be attachable parts. Are these with attachable penises? Back on that later if you don't know yet, because I am very curious about that.
So you want like a super attachment is what you're saying?
Yeah, or any kind of dragon dildo, who knows?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, they do have different sizes. So that would be something like once we have it, we display that on the website. So, or maybe it would just come with the reservation, right? Where you can just choose which attachment you want at that moment, right? So it may be something along those lines, but I don't know a whole lot about I'm still learning about the guy dolls and everything that they come with and things like that, the ins and outs of it. So the more I get to know, then I can make a better judgment on which ones will work.
Yeah, I was just staring at a bunch of penises of different options. I think I lingered on that page a little too long, possibly.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So do you get any women or a few women, or has your clientele been all men so far?
Mostly men and couples.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So from what I know, the women are interested in the threesome, but they don't know how they will feel about having another woman there, right? So by incorporating a doll first, then that'll give her an idea of how she will feel.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, and also, there's a lot of conversation about monogamy and what that looks like now and like monogamish. And one thing too is, I don't think I would necessarily consider it cheating if to go out and explore something different with a doll, whereas going out with another person, maybe crosses some boundary. Maybe your husband can go and have a good night with the doll instead and be within boundaries of the relationship. So,
yeah, I think cheating is something that needs to be defined, in the beginning of the relationship, because cheating is different to certain people. Because there are some women that say, if you fuck a doll, that's not cheating. But there's other women that say, if you fuck a doll, that's cheating. I've actually heard it. And I'm like, how is it cheating? So the definition of cheating has to be put out on the table.
And I mean, in my view, this is similar to a vibrator. I mean,
correct.
It gets me off. This gets other people off.
And it might even help people feel less like they have to cheat because they have other outlets to explore and have fun. And if you're on a long work trip, like you were saying, how it started in the oil fields, I think it's great. I'm all for it.
And then also, right, if you have sex with the same person, it could be great, right? And it's every day or every week, however often, right? At some point, it's just the same thing. So you have to feel something different in order to appreciate what you have. That's my view on it, right? So if you go and bang out a doll or another woman or whatever the fuck it is, then when you come back and have sex with the person you're with, then you can appreciate how it feels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think it could be a fun, sexy surprise. That's the same thing with my boyfriend. I'm like, it'd be fun to surprise him. Just be like, show up at this hotel, come in here.
That would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Like
fun.
A little Valentine's Day gift present or something.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Well, I know you get asked this question all the time, but it's on people's minds. So get it out of the way. But can you talk to us about how you clean the dolls?
Yes, a lot of people want to know that question. And the dolls are cleaner than any person. So the cleaning process begins with an antimicrobial soap, right? So it kills 99.9% of the germs and bacteria and pathogens, right? So we clean it inside and out. Secondly is wanded with a UV sanitation light, which also serves the same purpose, right? And then we inspect it with a black light to make sure there's no bodily fluids left on the doll outside or the inside. And once the doll passes those things, we powder it, bag it up, and it's ready to go.
That's so thorough.
And you provide a UV light, right, with it?
Yes.
See, I feel like even UV
or
light,
a black light. Let me say that.
Or
as
black
a black
light,
yes.
yeah. Because I was when I was reading about that, I was like, that's something I don't even do for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not at home with a black light. Like, am I clean enough for my last session?
And not only that, right? Men never ask women how they clean themselves.
They don't.
Right.
And if you did, we'd probably slap you.
Probably. They'd be like, if I ask, I ain't gonna get no pussy. But it's a question that they should ask. If they would ask how we clean the dolls, I'm like, okay, well, how does your lady clean herself? I don't know.
It's not a conversation that we have.
I think it's another thing that is really stigmatized anytime we talk about sex in general is that sex is dirty and we're meant to feel the shame. And, if you think about it in lots of ways, we go to the doctor and we have things put inside us, like a gynecologist or even surgeries or dentists, there are so many other tools that we interact with as humans on a daily basis that we don't attach that stigma to. Going to the dentist and they're using the same tools because we trust professionals to clean their tools. And so I think that when it comes to sex, people are like, dolls, that's dirty. I don't want to. And it's like, no, come on, we're not giving you a dirty doll. It's going to be thoroughly clean.
Absolutely.
You can be an adult and use the reason to figure that out. I think that sex just comes with stigmas. I mean, people say that about strippers too, about, strippers are dirty. And it's the same with the dolls. I'm like, strippers are keeping themselves cleaner than most women you'll ever ever interact with. Like, that's their job to be clean. They got
Absolutely.
wipes, they got creams.
They want to smell good.
Yeah, they're not trying to have your fluids on them either.
Yeah,
So.
I did have one bad stripper experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the reason why I don't let them dance on me anymore.
Yeah.
So I went,
Oh gosh, I
went to the strip club with me and my boys. And then there was like this hot chick, right? So she, nice titties, everything, right? So she rubs her titties between my nose, right? And there was like this god awful smell.
Got a little stink with it.
It was really stank, right? I don't know what the fuck this was. Like, I cannot pinpoint what it was. All I know is when I went home, I showered, and I woke up the next day, and I still could smell this shit, whatever it was. And I'm like, you know what? Never again.
Yeah.
Let me just look at your titties. Don't rub them on my face.
I'll
Don't touch me with them.
Their beauty from afar.
Yes, let me just watch you over there. Do your thing.
It's just working hard, sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like-
flipping on the pole.
Yeah, like, clean yourself up. Shit.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you getting more? So you do in-call and out-call. So in-call would be to their house, correct?
No, in-call would be at a hotel.
Okay, in-call.
Yes.
And then out-call would be at their house.
Yes, at their place of residence.
Are you getting mostly hotels or are you getting more out-calls?
This year has been a lot more out calls.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is, but previous, it's mostly in calls. So like the last year, we just did a ton of in calls. And I think it's because most guys, either they're married in a relationship, they may have roommates, so they need somewhere discreet to go.
Yeah.
And so far this year, we've been doing a ton of out calls. So however that works out, whether they're interacting with their significant other, but typically it's more in calls than out calls.
Interesting that it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe people got all crazy, went out for COVID, and realized that we like staying in our yoga pants better at home than leaving.
Well, I like how you've been able to normalize the experience too, and how you can talk so comfortably about it. I know you said your friends know you do it, obviously your wife. Like, how was that when your wife came and you guys met and you introduced her to this business? I know she's a big part of it now. How did it go in the beginning when you told her about this?
So we were together before the business came into existence,
right
right?
on.
So then when I told her the idea, she's like, I think it'll work.
Yeah.
You know, she's extremely supportive in like everything I do. Like sometimes I think she's overly supportive. You know, I'm like, stop being so supportive. You know, but yeah, she was all about it, and she, you know, put 100% of her effort into building the company as well. So
I think that's just refreshing to hear. Again, kind of going back to those stigmas and how people think it's cheating or it's weird. I think it's refreshing that a married couple can do this together and see that it has benefits for people. And it, you know, I know you have kids who know what you do too. And
right.
I think it's cool that the more open-minded we can be and the more comfortably we can talk about it without it being this kind of weird taboo thing, I think is really refreshing.
Absolutely. And I think it also helps is that I don't look at our relationship as, you know, husband and wife, like just that. She's my friend also, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at friendship, I have other friends, and I don't try to control what they do. They don't try to censor what I do. You know, we're open to each other's ideas, right? And I think that's the beauty between me and Lou, is that she's open to my ideas, you know, so I don't feel like I have to, you know, not tell her certain things because, oh, she's going to get mad. I'm like, no, we have that type of communication where I could tell her whatever and vice versa. You know, so
Definitely.
that definitely helps.
What kind of misconceptions do you think people might have about the brand?
I think the misconception is that they think that it's dirty, or they think that it's for guys that can't get laid. And it has nothing to do with guys who can't get laid. It has everything to do with guys who want what they want right now. Mm-hmm. And if they can't get what they want right now at Denver Doll, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a kink. I mean, you know, there's so many kinks out there.
kink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
doll
for
kink.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a
I mean,
kink
they're
for some
hot.
people. Yeah. They are, you know, and then going back to like the whole relationship thing, like there may be things that the wife's not into. She may not be into anal. Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, I got to have it.
Yeah.
I need that anal.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of going without it, he can get it from a doll, right? And it's safe and it's clean. So he doesn't have to suppress that desire, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it helps for a lifelong relationship too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am curious, how do you name your dolls?
how do I name the dolls? I just look at them and I say, oh, she looks like a Britney. Or she looks like a Tori.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah,
like,
she does.
I'm like, babe, what do you think? Does she look like a Tori? She's like, she looks like an Angela. And I'm like, okay, well.
If it was Maddie over here, she'd like pick some backstory. Like she was a librarian.
Yeah. And her nickname is TT.
Yeah.
We used to have backstories like that on the doll's
really?
profile. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I think it's fun.
You know, and then we kind of got away from it because we realized the guys just don't care.
Yeah. Well, and also possibly they maybe want their own, fantasize in their own head who it could be. So
That too,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you used to write backstories. That is great. This has been a huge question on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had any calls for multiple dolls, like a doll gangbang?
Yeah. There was
And if so, what is the number?
there was a bachelor party.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and they booked out like every doll that we had.
Now that's a bachelor party.
Yeah, it was. I was losing my mind. I'm like, how the fuck are we gonna do all this? But then Luke kept me balanced, and we
Of
worked
course.
it out, and I think those guys had a really good time.
Did you have to haul all the dolls up by yourself, just one by one?
No, not by myself. I
Nice.
I had Lou, and we had a couple of our other staff members there to help
Nice.
out, so we was able to get the dolls up in a few
No,
trips.
that's a lot. Were you out of breath lifting all those dolls?
No, they had elevators, so
Oh,
nice.
I just pull them right out the trunk of the truck and haul them
Haul
right
'em up.
upstairs. Now, you do get winded if you go to like we had to stop using in-calls that didn't have elevators.
Oh.
You know, because I got to one hotel, they didn't have an elevator, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's on the third floor.
You make that mistake once.
Yeah, and I'm carrying this thing up to the third floor. I get to the second floor, I'm like, sweating and shit, and I'm like, fuck this. And never again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had never thought about the weight until you brought it up, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
pretty heavy.
Makes so much sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you bring them into the room, some of them on an experience, do you do all the posing yourself
Yes.
in the first, like, so when they're all set up when you walk into the room?
Yeah, so if the client doesn't request a certain pose, then we'll just throw the doll in a random pose.
Okay.
So whatever I'm feeling at that moment, if I'm there setting it up or whoever's setting it up, they just, this is what I like.
Yeah.
You put her in this pose, and that's what it is.
I think about it because she does boudoir photography,
Yeah.
and so she's taught me how to pose my body.
Nice.
Like, and I send her all my nudes. I'm like, "Does it do I look good in this?" And she's like, "Move your arm a little bit back to the left." So see, she's like, "Push your boob this way a little bit." So I was like, as soon as I saw the dolls, I was immediately thinking about her posing.
The poses are good. I approve. Good poses.
Yeah.
So are these like nudes that you're just sending to people, or?
Me? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So she's perfecting your nudes that you just sending
Oh,
to
yeah.
dudes? Okay,
Yeah,
god damn,
you know?
okay.
Yeah, you know,
She's a professional.
my rule of thumb is if you're going to take nudes, you have to let them look good. In case they get leaked or something, at least they're going to be as hot as
I
they
will
can
say, I had one person threaten to share my nudes, and I was like, "You're welcome.
be. Yeah, share them. Let people see.
You know, okay,
I will grant them to the world."
that might make sense. I got a homeboy that's a photographer, so next time I take like a dick pic, I send it to him. Like, hey, bro, what do you think? You think this is a good pose?
I'm sure
Honestly,
that'll
Good
go over
angle?
well.
Men need some help with their dick pics, so maybe you
They
should.
do. They
Yeah.
do. I've helped a guy before, and I was like,
I'm like,
okay.
I sent you art, and you send me, there's like a
Yeah.
dirty sock on the floor and a towel, your toenails.
over the
gross.
toilet, the
Yeah.
toilet dick pics.
Yeah.
Can we just stop those
No,
now?
no thanks.
He might be like, hey, next time, hold it with your whole hand, bro,
Yeah.
not the two fingers.
Yeah.
You know, 2 fingers make you look a little small.
Exactly, yeah. We need some
I just
tips.
say when all else fails, grab a seltzer can, like a Truly seltzer can, put them side by side.
size
We
comparison?
all know what a Truly seltzer can is, and that will give us the size.
There you go.
So going back to the dolls and these nice poses, can the customers choose the lingerie? They can choose the whole thing?
Yes.
they're looking for?
Yeah, so they can pretty much, create the type of girl they like, right? They could choose the hair color. We got several different hair colors and styles on the website. They can also choose the lingerie color, or if it's I don't know if they can see Tori back there, but that's like the girl next door
Nice.
outfit where she got the thigh-high socks
Yeah,
on,
she's a little
the
shy.
short jean shorts and the tank top shirt, so like a look like that is something that they can request as well.
That's awesome.
Okay, I have to jump in on this because I've been wondering this. So Tori has different hair than what I saw. So obviously you can change the wigs.
Mm-hmm.
How did the wigs stay on when, you're going at it? That's what I was wondering. I'm like, what if they pull the hair
How
and it just
durable
comes
are
right
they?
off?
Yeah.
Well,
How hard can you pull the hair? I'm asking for a friend.
So I went to a room the other day to pick the doll up, and the strap that's on the wig was up under her chin like a chin strap.
Homegirl had been through.
So he like couldn't keep it on, and that was his best
That was
bet?
his best way to keep it on for as rough as he wanted to be.
Yeah.
So guys are very creative, so they figure out how to keep that shit on the way they want it. So
Or who knows? Maybe they took it off right when they got in the room.
that does happen sometimes. Like I come in and she's all bald head, and I'm like looking around, and the wig's in the corner somewhere. I'm like, oh shit.
So I'm guessing then that's another thing you can get customized too. Maybe if you want a doll with a different hairstyle or something.
Yeah, like I know with some dolls, like they have the hair in the actual material, right?
Yeah.
But then that'd be kind of shitty because you wouldn't be able to change it out, right?
Yeah.
And if it gets damaged, then you got to get a whole new head or whatever. So it can get real pricey.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we want to keep the price as low as possible so we can make sure, so we can keep our cost for the client as low as possible.
And they are really affordable to do. What are they now? And I know you have a matinee now as well, correct?
The matinee has ended.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a matinee special going on for maybe like a month or so.
I checked your website.
I
Obviously,
can tell.
maybe too much.
I like it.
Looking for friends, as I said. So.
All right, keep that in mind.
But it's so you do 1 hour, 2 hour?
2 hours. Yeah, the matinee was 1 hour, but generally the reservations are for up to 2 hours.
Okay. Does anyone ever go like 8 hours? Extend?
Yes, there's one guy when he comes into town because he flies in just for this, and he gets it for I think 10 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll just sit back and I'm like 10 hours. He's tough.
Viagra.
You got some energy, right?
He's just talking. They're just sitting.
He must be
chatting.
like super in shape.
It must be. His wife's like, go get a fucking doll.
Oh gosh, yeah. Could you imagine her? She's probably like, go get,
Leave me
please
alone,
go.
please. So then when they're all done, you come in, you clean up. They don't have to do any of that. Have you ever walked into anything crazy? Anything where you're like, what the fuck happened here?
Two things. I walked in one room and the doll wasn't there.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I know he didn't steal it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around, and then I open the closet door, and the doll looked like he body slammed it in there. It's like all upside down, all fucked up.
Oh my God.
I'm like, asshole.
Yeah.
So that was one experience. And then another experience is we went in to retrieve a doll, and the vagina was all melted. And we're trying to figure out what the fuck went on. Like, what did he do? And then we looked at the blow dryer, and it was the material around the blow dryer. So he stretched the pussy out to like this big.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, who's going to enjoy that after that? So he got charged for that, right?
Yeah.
And then the price of the doll, and I was like, it's yours now if you want it.
Oh, well, hey, that's cool at least.
Yeah, so his wife called and was like, yeah, we want that doll. Oh my God. Like, there you go.
Oh my
It's an art piece
gosh.
in their living room now.
Yeah. Did they get the blow dryer too?
No.
The hotel is like, what?
What happened? I'm sure that smelled great too, just like blasting a heater of burning plastic.
Well, that's amazing. So what's next? I know you said you have male dolls coming. Like, where do you see this being your lifelong career? Is this just something that you might, what are you thinking? What's coming next?
What's coming next is that I would like to make Denver doll accessible in every state.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on right now.
Yeah. If you have people flying out to Denver for it, it shows that, like, you're a tier above the rest,
Have you done consulting for other sex doll companies?
You got my phone tapped?
I was saying you should. Actually, they need to be calling your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking with a guy last week about consulting.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, so we are working on drafting a consulting agreement.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, because you kind of were pioneer. There's not many. The only other thing I saw, which I'm curious what you think about, are I don't think there's any in this country, but there's sex doll brothels. Have you heard of those?
I have heard of them. I know in Vegas there was a brothel or two.
Oh, was there? Okay.
But they got closed down because of the zoning. And I don't really want to go that route with having a brothel, right? it doesn't really give the clients the discretion, I believe,
Yep.
that most will want, right?
Yep.
So if someone wants to do a brothel, do your brothel, but we keep operating the way we're operating.
Well, no, I like the discreet and like little private, you know.
Makes it sexy.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of mysterious.
Do you have a doll, like a personal fave you keep?
Oh, man.
Put him on the spot here.
My
Luke's shaking yes.
She's not on the website at the moment,
Yeah.
but Kendra was my favorite.
Okay.
After the
And-
Playboy model, or?
I had no idea. I was
Okay.
a Playboy
All right.
model. named
Kendra Wilkinson. She's the
You're
bomb.
gonna have to show me a picture of her. Maybe if I seen her, I know.
Yeah.
She's banging.
But Kendra was the first doll that I purchased, right?
Oh, wait, for the business or for yourself?
For the business.
Okay.
So then, when that first reservation came in, they wanted Kendra, and I told my lady, I'm like, I don't want to send her out. Like, this is mine.
Yeah.
You know, like, he wants Kendra. I'm like, damn it. And then she looks at me. She was like, that bitch needs to make you money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're right.
That's what she's here for.
I had to snap out of that love shit. I fell in love with Kendra.
Just like come with it.
Yeah. So.
Is there do you have one that's like rented out more than any other doll?
If I had to say, it would be you, Tori.
Tori. I thought so. I think that's why I was asking. I just want everyone to know Tori is the best in bed. Speaking to all the at-home listeners.
And Chloe. Like, those two I would want to say are
So you brought today.
Yes, the
We
two.
got the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I feel so honored.
Right.
Do you have any Maddies? Maddie in the work? You know, Maddies are fun and bubbly and...
Yeah.
I can make that happen. I got the power to
She
do
can
that.
be the bratty little sister type.
They seem innocent at first, and you're like, oh, okay, a whole new side.
Oh shit, we may have to get a Maddie.
Yeah, they're cute. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about that.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah.
It's so cool to hear about. I think it's amazing. I love that you're based in Denver. It's really awesome that you're bringing this to Denver, and we can have more of a sex positive culture coming here. Some cool experiences.
Absolutely.
And expanding to Texas and getting the word out. And yeah, I'm excited for people to learn about this because it's so fascinating. It's so forward thinking. And yeah, just like we were saying, all just great benefits in so many different ways. And so awesome.
It really is, because the thing about it is I always try to find the negative in everything. And that's not a bad thing, right? I'm just trying to weigh things out. So even with the business, I'm like, what's the negative? You know, and I'm searching for it, and I couldn't find it because it's a positive thing. You know, there's nothing negative about it. It doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't take advantage of anyone or anything. It's all about self, right? Mm-hmm. So I like the idea because it gets people, I guess it allows people to get back to treating themselves and loving themselves. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot.
It's a great way to look about it, about wanting to provide something that gives people a true release and like
Absolutely.
gives people a moment without shame where they're like, I want to feel good. I want to like have this release and there's no shame behind it. I love that. That's great.
100%.
I love that you're offering that. Right on.
Absolutely.
And I think we might have to go try this VR headset.
Yeah, we're gonna
have to.
experience.
You have to.
Yeah, I might have to kick everyone else out.
So
Me and Tori might need to hang.
what's the website? Where can people find you?
Yeah.
So you can find us online at denverdollltd.com. That is our website.
And you're also on Instagram, and that's at DNVRDLLTD.
Basically, no
Yes.
no vowels. Denver doll.
Yeah.
No vowels.
And we'll
absolutely.
post that in all the show notes and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll
Perfect.
have them as
That'd
well.
be awesome.
Yeah. Especially because I messed it up as soon as I started it.
Can they do online reservations? Do they have to talk to anyone, or is it completely like?
So
hands off?
it's all online, so they don't
Nice.
have to talk to anyone in order to make a reservation.
Full discretion.
Yeah, from the beginning to the end. Absolutely.
I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Brian. It was so awesome.
We've been so excited to meet with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks for your time, and let's go have some fun with these dolls.
Let's do it. And thank you for having me as well.
Of course.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So by request, you have brought Tori here with us today.
Absolutely, just for you.
Spitting image of each other.
Yeah,
My boobs might be a little bit smaller, but
He's got the same eyes.
Yeah, same eyes and same name. This doll is heavy. We just picked it up. It's insane how heavy they are. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's like 60, 65 pounds.
I feel bad for you men throwing around us real women in bed. Now I have a little bit more respect. So this is kind of one of the more girl next door looks. I like her look a lot. And she's a lot of your models, they seem to follow the kind of tighter, skinny little waist and big hips, big boobs, big-bodied women. That's pretty common with all the dolls. Is that like the most common shape you found?
That is the most common shape that we have found, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
And I guess it would cut down on the weight with the. I'm serious. This is a workout in here.
Yeah.
This is great. No, I'm amazed by the quality of them. How they can pose. They're built with an interior skeleton, so it's kind of like our skeleton but metal, which makes them really easy to pose.
Exactly. That's how they can pose in the same positions that we can. Mm-hmm. They bend the same way we bend.
Oh, do they bend not the same way we bend? Have you ever come back to like some extortionists like?
They can go in some wild double jointed positions. Yeah.
Just come back to one and it's like in like the backwards crab walk.
Like we get it. We go back to the room and I'm like, ooh, how do we make this doll straight again? Like, sometimes it's all fucked up.
No, I love it.
What's the inspiration behind the name?
Oh yeah, what's the inspiration behind the name?
The inspiration, right? I looked at her and I took a deep breath and I'm like, yeah, she looks like a Tori.
She does look like a Tori.
I normally give them the first name I think about because I've seen so many women in my lifetime, you know. So I kind of compare them to a woman I've seen before and whatever her name was, I'm like, okay, cool. So that's how I do it.
Have you ever named a doll that wasn't performing well, like after an ex?
I probably should.
Like one of the dolls that you're like not really feeling. You're like, oh yeah, that's a Macy.
You know, maybe some type of special where like the worse you do this doll, you know.
Yeah.
Like, this doll only goes out for gangbangs or whatever.
Yeah. Or you need it. I think this bachelor party gangbang thing should be a special because I'm into it. Or maybe for my bachelorette, when you get all your male dolls in, I'll have to do the first one. We can like stock up the party bus with some Denver doll men.
Yeah, you got to make sure the wedding isn't the next day because you're going to be really exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Need a couple days.
I'm exhausted. Maybe not 10 hours. I don't know if I can go as long as that one guy did, but a few.
Absolutely.
Well, Tori, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time. And you look good. You look real good. So.
You know, and Tori had a long night, so she's not really talking a lot right now. So,
I think her lips might be sore, her mouth maybe.
Maybe, you know, she's just kind of chilling right now, you know, enjoying the vibe.
She's a busy lady, you know.
Yeah, she
kind
is.
Just take it easy.
She's all action, no words.
Yeah. I mean, with a face like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love Tori.
I love Tori too. I think we first need to just talk about what an absolute queen and badass Lou is.
Yeah, we came for Brian, fell in love with Lou.
Lou's
his wife.
Lou is his wife.
Yeah.
Not just his wife, business partner,
part-time costume designer.
Head bitch in charge.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, she brought us snacks.
Snacks.
We're talking charcuterie board, popcorn, chips, water. Like, she had a full spread.
It was...
And we're hosting them for the podcast, and she brings snacks
She brings snacks. And not even that. So there's the whole experience. So we didn't get to really show this on the podcast, but when we first arrived, we got a text message with our room number, and it said how the key card is actually what they do is they put the do not disturb sign and they hang it on the door, and then they tape the key card for the room behind it. So it's super discreet. So they gave us the full experience when we walked in.
You walk in, there's mood lighting. They literally change the light bulbs out in the hotel, so you have like red lights.
Yeah. By the way, this is Lou.
Yeah, he gave her props, which is great. He said that's all Lou, because women know the vibes.
They do know the vibes.
Sexy.
Yeah, so it's like got red light, mood vibes in there.
I was surprised at how professional it is, how not weird it was.
It was not.
It was nice.
And then you go in, they also have condoms, branded condoms, which I was like, I was like, can I take these?
That's marketing right there.
Yeah. And lube provided as well. Water-based lube, because for everyone out there who does not know, you cannot use silicone lube with silicone toys. Let me tell all of you, I have ruined my most expensive dildo. It's called the Mustang. All right, that was literally the name on the site. It was rainbow. It was beautiful.
R.I.P.
Ruined by silicone lube. So they provided water-based lube.
And they dress them up. They have nice lingerie. Their nails are done.
Their nails are done. Lou does the nails. We love Lou.
We love her. She told us a story about how someone requested a custom costume, and she went out. She was spray painting shit, making a belt out of suspenders.
Yes, I mean they go all the way.
Yeah.
Everything for the customer. It was great.
And Lou had some great stories beyond the sex dolls about there was a hockey team that came into town and they wanted to rent out sex dolls.
Oh, yeah. It was during COVID.
Yeah. During COVID, they couldn't have an audience. They wanted to rent out sex dolls to
put in the audience.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that.
And there was a bachelor, because I asked, I was like, was there ever a gangbang?
Oh,
Sex doll? Yeah. And they do like bachelor parties and stuff. I mean, it was fascinating.
They had a science teacher want an old sex doll because they were trying to do like a forensic test for
yes,
her class.
yes, no, it was a detective.
Yeah.
Yes, and they gave them an old sex doll to use for. It was like a crime scene.
Yeah. Lou had some great stories. We need to have her on
when they get
the male sex dolls.
When they get the male sex dolls, we're gonna have Lou back on because she is the bomb. She's behind the scenes during the interview, but we love her.
They gave us some swag.
And we've been wearing it. I love wearing this out. And I was at Walgreens the other day, and the
Shameless.
guy, and I was like sporting this, and the guy at the register was like, "I like your sweatshirt," and I was like, "Thank you."
I bet you do.
I bet you do.
You do.
You probably know. I'm like, you probably have. You've gone to a hotel room, haven't you?
But they were so fun. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm like, you guys are awesome.
And okay, the one thing we didn't get to really talk about was the Oculus. So the Oculus is the first-person view. What's it called?
It's like augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
Yeah.
And so you can watch, like, they have augmented reality porn you can watch. So while you're using the Oculus, you can use the doll as well.
It's like point of view, right?
Yeah. It's like, you are. I mean, we have clips. We'll have to share them on social media. Me wearing it. And I'm like humping the air. So I'm like, oh, yeah, like, this is great.
Yeah.
It's like the full experience.
Full sensory experience.
They have thought of everything. Yeah. And like the different lingerie. And these dolls, I was blown away by how heavy they are.
Yeah.
They are heavy.
Yeah. We had a Brian. I'm like, I can lift 60 pounds. I cannot lift 60 pounds.
No. Well, and one thing we kind of touched on, but I was a little disappointed at the lack of representation of like real female bodies in
full figured curves.
It's not even with it's not even with Brian's company. It's overall. I looked at dolls you can purchase, and I was really bummed that like the big bodied women weren't really big bodied.
Yeah.
However, I'm now realizing the big, because we actually were able to see a big body doll, and she still had a really
Chloe was thick.
Chloe
was
thick
thighs.
She had those thick thighs, and we love that. But still, super tiny waist.
Yeah.
But there is a reason for this, which is now justifiable because those bitches are heavy. But they're so poseable.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved how Maddie, as we said, has done boudoir.
Boudoir.
Pronounced correctly.
Nudie
photos. And so she was impressed with the poses they came up with because you can pose them almost any way.
Yeah. It takes some work though. You really got to kind of manhandle them a little bit.
You do, yeah. I think Brian at one point said sometimes the bigger ones, they handle you. You don't handle them.
Lou even told us they were at a hotel once that didn't have an elevator. She said never again. She like threw that bitch
and she
over
said it
her
was
shoulder.
naked. It had no clothes on.
Had no clothes. She was just walking down the hall with the doll over her shoulder. I love that.
Oh, I mean, the stories they had were just so great.
And they're so great together. I love how supportive they are. I love just how it was great.
Yeah, Lou's been there since the beginning and supporting Brian, and it seems they're just so supportive.
Were so fun.
Yeah, I know we were talking about them more, but we love Brian and Lou.
And it's a great experience. It doesn't feel creepy. I didn't know what we were getting into. I'm like, these people are cool. Their business is professional.
But it was. I've never seen one in person, and they're so knowledgeable. Like, their dolls. The two dolls we were able to see were Tori and
Chloe.
Tori's stuck in my head.
Your
obviously,
twin.
My twin. My twinsies, girl next door. Obviously, I give off girl next door vibes, not hoe vibes. Or maybe I give off hoe vibes.
Well, that's what you want, the secret hoe. You want her to look sweet, blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're like, oh, she's a freak.
Yeah, that's why I've got the Kate + 8 vibes now with the hoe and underneath.
It's a surprise later. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, well, my nipples are pierced.
Yeah, exactly.
Who
and
knew?
a whole more. Yeah. It's great.
And yeah, but they were quite a bit different. We got a feel like they actually had different.
We couldn't stop feeling them up. They felt so nice. We're just like talking and squeezing boobs.
Yeah, and what's cool was the mouth, the ass, and the. Are we calling it the pussy?
Yeah.
I love the pussy name.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Pussy's a great word.
Pussy's what I call my own.
Yeah.
So, rawr. They're textured on the inside, the holes. So it's not just like a straight hole.
Yeah.
And we'll have to share some of these videos of us going through. I was down
She was
in there. I was like, whoa, if I had a dick, this would feel so good.
In the mouth, you're like choking poor Chloe.
I know. Her lips didn't look good when I was going in, but they looked great when I was pulling out.
You know, it was nice. It was real nice.
Well, we absolutely love them. It was
highly recommend. So if people want to try these dolls, where should they go? I know we have a promo code.
Yeah, so they can go to their website. So the website is www.denverdollltd.com.
Just one doll, the Denver doll.
Yeah. And we'll share all of these links in the notes. And that you can actually, it's fully discreet. You can go by yourself on the internet. You don't need to talk to anyone. At no point, really, is there any communication unless you want there to be. Brian said he's more than happy to talk to clients. Sometimes they do. But you can go book online. And then the only communication is really the text and going into the hotel room. And for first-time users or listeners out there, we have $25 off for a 2-hour spin with Tori if you want. I mean, she's my favorite doll, but you can also go with Chloe or one of the others. And that code is Rooster25.
Rooster25.
I know. Thank you, Brian, for that. Yeah. I was like, I might use it.
That's dope. I know.
I'm like, where is my male sex doll? Because I would use the shit out of that.
And shout out Rooster Magazine. You have an article coming out.
Yes, we're doing an article on the whole experience with some photos and some behind the scenes pics. So you can check that out in May's edition of Rooster Magazine, as well as on their website, rooster.com.
Yep, and everything's linked in the show notes, so you guys can see all the behind the scenes videos of Tori shoving her fingers in these dolls.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah. I was filling them up.
It was great.
Well, I can't wait for our next guest next time. And
stay tuned. We have more wild stuff to come.
It was so fun hoeing it up with you guys.
Yeah.
And you too, Maddie, I guess.
But all right. Well, until next time.
Until next time, make sure always pleasure yourself before pleasuring the person next to you, all right? Have a good one.